Today in this particular video I am going to talk about a new chapter from class 11, that is taxonomy and systematics. So we all know that there is approximately 1.7 million species which are identified till now, and this is a very huge in number, and each of particular species there is a large number of individuals. For example, when we talk about us, the human beings, we belong to a common species. But we also know that there are more human beings present in this world, right? So, there are so many species, and inside of each species, there are huge individuals. So, to understand them and to make their study possible, there is a process which is known as classification. So what is classification? As its name suggests, that it is a process to classify all the living organisms. So the classification is the process to classify or diversify the living organisms into the convenient categories. For example, if we get an organisms which have the characteristics just like us, then we will classify it into our category, which is Mammalia. So basically we can diversify the organisms through this process of classification on the basis of easily observed characteristics or their features. So when we will observe any organisms, we will classify them to know their characteristics. And from these characteristics, we can easily relate them with the particular known individuals. And also can get to know the similarities and differences. Then on the basis of those similarities and differences, we can put them into different groups, categories. So this is all about classification, okay? Now here comes a new word called taxa. So what the word is used for? The word taxa is used for categories, okay? So there are some compulsory categories, or you can say obligate categories, such as species, genus, family, order, class, phylum and kingdom. Okay, all of these are called as obligate categories or compulsory categories, and these all categories are called as taxa. So what the taxa is all about? The word taxa is a plural form of taxon, and it is used for the categories at different levels, okay? Like at kingdom level, or at species level, or at genus level. So it means each categories such as species or genus or order or phylum is a taxa. So what is the definition of taxa? So the taxa are arranged in a hierarchy from kingdom to subspecies. A given taxon ordinarily including several taxa of lower rank. Hence, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa on basis of specific characteristics exhibited by them. Now let's come to the word taxonomy. So taxonomy began about 300 years before Christ by Theophrastus. And Carolus Linnaeus is regarded as the founder of taxonomy and considered as the father of taxonomy till today. And de Candolle first coined the word taxonomy. Now, what the taxonomy is all about? So, the word taxonomy comes from two Greek words, taxis and nomos. And the definition is, it is the branch of science which deals with the study of principles and procedures of classification of all living organisms into various taxa. So we can decide individuals' categories via the method taxonomy. Now, what are the bases of taxonomy? The first one is characterization. Here we need to note down all the characters present in an individual. Now the second one is identification. Here we need to identify and observe the individual on the basis of those characteristics. Now the third one is classification. Here we have to classify the individual on the basis of those characteristics and have to put those characteristics on the convenient category. And now last is nomenclature. So now we have to give the name to those particular individual according to the binomial nomenclature, which I will discuss in later classes. Okay, so there is a big difference between classical taxonomy and modern taxonomy. So when we talk about classical taxonomy, it is based on observable morphological characteristics. And when we talk about modern taxonomy, it is based on some essential features like study of both external and internal structures of living organisms, along with their cell structure, development process, and ecological informations of organisms. Now here is 3 levels of taxonomy. First one is the alpha taxonomy, which is concerned with finding, describing and naming of living organisms. Now the second one is beta taxonomy, which includes identification of natural groups and biological classes. And the last one is gamma taxonomy, which includes study of evolutionary processes and patterns. Next one is the types of taxonomy. There are 6 types of taxonomy. First one is the morphotaxonomy, which is the classification of organisms according to their morphology. Second one is the cytotaxonomy, which is the classification of living organisms according to their cellular structure. Here, cytochrome C is the main basis of classification. The third one is karyotaxonomy, which is the classification of organisms according to nucleus and chromosome present in their cell. Now the fourth one is numerical taxonomy, which is the classifications of organisms according to the numbers provided by their characters. It is also known as Adansonian taxonomy. Now the fourth one is chemotaxonomy. Chemotaxonomy is the classification of organisms according to the biochemicals present in their cell. In case of this, protein present in their cells are main basis of their classification. Now the last one is experimental taxonomy, which consists of nomenclature and determination of evolutionary history and relationships of living organisms, which is also known as phylogenetics. Now let's come to the importance of taxonomy. So the first one is to arrange the taxa of living organisms into a more systematic manner so that they can be better understood and could be used easily and more effectively. The second one is to arrange data or information and knowledge about the living organisms. third one is to indicate the source and genetic relationship, ancestry and origin of organisms. And the last one is to indicate the distribution and habitat of the living organisms on Earth and their benefits. After this, the next thing is systematics. Human beings had not only studied different kinds of organisms, but also they tried to find out the relationships among them. And this led to the development of the new branch, which is systematics. The word systematics comes from the Latinized Greek word systema, which means together. And the word was first used by Carolus Linnaeus in his title of this book, published as Systema Naturae. So what is the definition of systematics? Systematics is the science which deals with the diversity of organisms and all their comparative and evolutionary characteristics. So we can say it is the systematic arrangements of different kind of individuals, and it is based on the taxonomy, including the evolutionary relationship. Okay? So it is more wider field of taxonomy, which includes characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature. Also, it takes account into evolutionary relationship between various living organisms. Now finally come to the differences between taxonomy and systematics. So the taxonomy is derived from two Greek words, taxis and nomos, whereas the systematics is derived from Latinized Greek word systema. Taxonomy is the discipline of classifying living organisms into taxa, while systematics is the broad field of biology that studies the diversification of species. And taxonomy includes characterization, identification, nomenclature and classification, whereas the systematics includes characterization, identification, nomenclature, classification of living organisms along with their evolutionary characteristics. Now, if you have any doubts or questions related to today's lecture, ask me in the comment section below. I have provided the answers of MCQs of previous chapter in the description box. And I have also provided the questions related to this part in the description box below to the self-assessment test. Next Wednesday, we will discuss about the concepts of species. So that's all for today. If you find this video helpful, then give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And hit the bell icon for further notification of our upcoming videos. So thanks for watching. Till then, take care and keep watching. Bye.